work as AAA screening technician for the aortic aneurysm screening programme. About 3 years ago now, we had an advertising campaign on Radio Merseyside, and as a result of that, some people phoned up and booked themselves in for a scan.
It originally started with me, just a chance listening to Radio Merseyside. The little word aneurysm stuck in my mind. Now, my father died at 59, and at that time I wasn't sure of the medical terms that he'd suffered when he died. And as soon as I looked at his death certificate, it jumped out at me, the word aneurysm.
Mr. Black's condition was quite serious. He was at a point where he was at a risk of rupture, so he needed to be referred to our consultant team to have possible treatment for his aneurysm. And from that point onwards, he followed a pathway through and was cared for and looked after by our staff to eventually have surgery for his condition.
It was quite dramatic, the operation, but I'm here today. My granddaughter was born in June. Obviously, you need to be fit to have grandchildren. Excuse me. It's just they were doing their job. And without them, I wouldn't have been here anyway.
I'm a TTP nurse specialist and I look after patients with TTP, which is a very acute, life-threatening diagnosis. There's a huge lack of awareness of the diagnosis, so unfortunately it has a high mortality rate. When I first met Catherine and Graham, Graham was seriously ill and he was intubated and transferred to ITU almost immediately.
It was all just a bit of a blur at the time. By then Graham had lost consciousness and he was completely delirious. He had 2 major heart attacks and stroke. And so they were very, very worried about him because they didn't think he'd make it.
Catherine was really in shock at that time, and I think that developed the bond really at that moment, that she had someone there that would talk to her, be honest with her, tell her about the diagnosis and what would be happening to her husband for treatment.
She was the person I could talk to, or just generally be somebody to listen. She was always, always there. She even rang me from her home a few times.
It has a 90% mortality rate, TTP, if it's not treated quickly. From what Graham had gone through, he really did fight for his survival, and he fought all the way and we fought with him as well.
On March the 9th, I went to bed as healthy as you could expect. 6:30 in the morning, I woke up with my left foot completely beetroot coloured. My wife decided that we needed to go down to the A&E.
It was quite serious. He had septic shock, and 50% of people with septic shock don't survive.
The fighting for breath, it was like being strangled slowly, and it was horrendous. My name, Walter, means brave warrior, but I wasn't a brave warrior. I was very afraid.
I think what helped him was the fact that staff were on the ball, they recognised it quite quickly, and they didn't waste any time.
Somewhere around about 13 days in hospital. Dr. Emmanuel said, we'll continue with your treatment at home. His words used to me were, we want the people to know that they're not on their own when they leave here. There's help.
Gary was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and it was such a frightening experience. It was just, it scared the life out of me, seeing him so vulnerable.
I work in the haematology department, working with people with all the different blood cancers. So my job is to sort of see the patient and begin to listen to the patient's fears. Over the course of their treatment, patients will have got to know me, and I'll have got to know their families. They look to us in that situation as family, because very often it's a very, very lonely journey.
I think she's one of the most dedicated people I've ever met, because I can't see when she ever switches off. she showed Gary a lymphoma magazine, and she said, you know, you should get this. And in one of them, there was just a sheet saying that you could nominate people for beacons of hope.
Out of the blue, I got a letter from Lymphoma Association saying that I'd been nominated for this Beacon of Hope award. They said I'd won, and at first I couldn't believe it. I was thinking. And then on the next page, Joyce had written about how I'd helped Gary and her and how I got them both out the house and they've met friends. And when I read it, I just cried. It was absolutely fantastic.
The people in the Royal are very passionate about what they do, and they took pride in what they were doing.
I love Mr. Black. The reason being, I like the fact that he's still here and is able to come back to the hospital and give something back, and we really value the fact that he makes the effort and comes in and gives a lot back.
What can you say to somebody that saves your life? I can't do anything for them, except what I'm doing.
She calls you trouble, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a little miracle, of course.
Yes, oh, a little miracle, yeah.
He is a little miracle to us, yeah. He's sort of become part of our family, and you know, we were delighted when Catherine and Graham actually got married on his 60th birthday. It was something really to celebrate for all of us.
He's got a heart of compassion. He loves his job. He loves what he's doing.
Our water stories, it helps drives me to continue doing what I do, but also all our members of staff, when they can see that the hard work that they're doing, the system they've put in place has made a difference for a patient, it really motivates them.
From both me and my wife, we just cannot thank him enough.
I see what they go through. You know, very often patients are referred to me at the beginning of their journey, and I know what they're going to have to face. So I would want to be a beacon of hope for patients. We are hope.
We are hope.
We are hope.
We are hope.